Welcome to the first video of the Japan Saga. While I set up my camera girl, it is in this series of videos that I will show you some of the places and things I did. I will try my best to give you tips on the things that I would have liked to do differently. But first things first. As soon as you land in Japan, I recommend you to do three things. One of them is optional though. The first thing to do is that if you have a lot of luggage, you can drop your luggage at Yamato Transport. This company is easily recognized by a picture of a black cat carrying a baby cat. You can use this company to send your luggage from the airport to your hotels or hotels all across Japan. There are other ways to send your luggage to your hotel besides the obvious of taking it with you, which, speaking from experience, I would not recommend because you will see that there are a lot of people in most trains. But I will add more on that later. The second and optional thing to do is to get a Japanese SIM card. I ended up buying a SIM card through mobile, and it gave me 7 GB of data and text messages. It did not give me calls, nor I ever figured out if I was supposed to get them, but I just needed the number to buy a ticket for an end-of-year Nier Automata event. I also ended up paying my provider for 15 GB of data roaming for the 16 days that I was going to be in Japan. And the last thing you want to do is to buy an IC card. I ended up getting a Pasmo card after getting it at the counter for 10,000 yen in cash. You can also get an app on your phone, but I kinda prefer to have the physical card. If you get a physical card, you can only add funds to it with cash, so make sure to have cash with you. The ATM international fee for getting 10,000 yen when I was there was 110 yen, and for 20,000 and up, it was 220,000 yen. Heads up, some places I'll show you in this series of videos only accept cash, but don't worry. Most spots in Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto let you pay with your credit card, so you're covered in the big cities. Now, before I dive deeper into how to move your luggage around, let me tell you about my journey to Osaka. I'm calling this day 0 of the Japan Saga because honestly, it was just about getting there. Between landing, traveling to Osaka, and scrambling to grab tickets for the end of the year event, which I did get by the way, that's pretty much all I did that day. After grabbing my IC card, the first mission was to get to my hotel in Osaka. Pro tip, Google Maps is going to be your best friend in Japan. It's got real-time train schedules, prices, and even tells you which platform to use. Unfortunately, I didn't notice the platform information until my third day. But hey, at least I got to practice my Japanese from Duolingo. But let's be honest, when Duolingo told me to say, "Sumimasen, Shinkansen eki wa doko desu ka?" I was expecting to hear, "Shinkansen eki wa soko desu," and not whatever it is they actually said. But because I didn't want to look like an idiot, I just nodded and replied, "Oh, naruhodo, arigatou gozaimasu." Honestly, I think my Japanese improved a lot during my time there. Leaving that aside, public transportation in Japan might feel overwhelming at first, but once you pay attention to what Google Maps Senpai tells you, everything will be daijoubu. So, from Haneda Airport, I hopped on the KQ line and made my way to the Shinagawa station. Once there, it was about a 5-minute walk to the Shinkansen station to buy my ticket to Shin Osaka. While navigating the sea of people at Shinagawa Station, which is an experience in itself, let me tell you about the other ways to deal with your luggage in Japan aside from Yamato Transport. First up, Japan Post. You can send your luggage through them by filling out a shipping label, which you can find at convenience stores like Lawson or 7-Eleven. I use this service to send my luggage from Kyoto to Tokyo, and it worked like a charm. Now, you might be wondering, hey Big, you just show us your Japanese is definitely worse than your English. Don't you need to write the address in Japanese? And I'll say, well, that's rude. And yes, but don't sweat it. The staff at the counter helped me fill out the form after I provided the addresses of the hotels I was staying and going to, written in Japanese, so it wasn't a big deal. A lot of foreigners use Yamato Transport because the staff are pretty used to helping travelers. But the service is basically the same as Japan Post. And then there's the second option and my personal favorite, Airporter. My last hotel hooked me up with this service and it's super friendly for English speakers. You do everything online. Upload some pics of your luggage, enter the size, pay for shipping, and drop it off with the hotel staff. Easy peasy. I used this at the end of my trip to send my luggage directly to the airport and it worked perfectly. For these services, you're looking at about $15 to $40, depending on the size and number of bags. Definitely budget for this if you're planning to travel light like I did. I only had a carry-on suitcase with enough clothes for 5 days, so I ended up doing laundry before heading to my next city, but I also ended up buying a big suitcase when I was in Osaka. Here's a heads up though, your luggage will usually arrive the next day, so plan accordingly. Let your hotel staff know you're expecting a delivery, or if you're sending your luggage right before checking out, make sure the staff at your next hotel knows it's coming. And don't forget, at the end of your trip, give yourself enough time to pick up your luggage at the airport before checking in for your flight. One last thing. All of these services, Japan Post, Yamato Transport, and Airporter, can store your luggage for up to a week. This is great if your hotel room is tiny, which, let's face it, most of them are, or if you already stuff your bags with souvenirs. Having this option gives you a bit of a breathing room. Going back to my journey to Osaka, you just saw me asking for help because to exit the Shinkansen station and enter the subway station, you either need to do a fare adjustment or insert one of the two tickets you receive when buying the Shinkansen ticket. Pro tip: just get one-way Shinkansen ticket. It's simpler and it gives you fewer things to worry about during your trip. Another thing to keep in mind, there are always seats available in both the reserved and non-reserved areas, so there's no need to stress about buying round-trip tickets. From Osaka, I took the Midosuji line for 4 stops and then transferred to the Keihan main line for 2 stops to reach my destination. I stay at the hotel Keihan Tenmanbashi Ekimae, where I paid $415 plus taxes for 5 nights. The double room was a bit small, but it worked perfectly for my needs. I only used it to shower and sleep. The amenities were great, and the breakfast buffet offered a fantastic variety of Japanese dishes. The staff spoke fluent English, and check-in was available until 11 p.m. with checkout at 11 a.m. It was super convenient. After settling into my room, I headed to the nearest Lawson to pay for the Nier Automata concert ticket I had purchased. Here's a heads up, Japan's system for a band sometimes is not very foreigner friendly. You'll need to create an account, provide a Japanese address and phone number, and either pay it with a Japanese credit card or use a LOPI or e-payment terminal. The catch, the terminal interface is entirely in Japanese, with no option to switch to English. You'll probably need your phone's camera and Google Translate to navigate it. And to wrap this up, let me share a few words about translation tools like Google Translate or ChatGPT. When it comes to communication, they're almost useless. Don't rely on them. If you're sticking to tourist-heavy areas or major cities, you'll likely get by because most Japanese workers' English is much better than my Japanese. That said, I did visit a few places where that wasn't the case. When that happens, you'll need to pray to the god of anime for the power to understand a few key phrases and push through the language barrier. Honestly, I think my Japanese was on par with a 1-year-old's vocabulary. Still, as long as I pointed to what I wanted or used one of the 4 most known hand signals, which I'll cover in a future video, I managed just fine. Tune in next week for days 1 and 2 of the Japan Saga in Osaka. I'm the Big One Mexican, keep watching anime, and see you later. Mata ne!